Right, we are up to issue number 50 now. Now, for quite a lot of us, this might be a last issue. However, I do have one after this, which is one of the special issues. So I'll bring that one in a few minutes. However, it's also a paint issue. Now, there's an interest. I like this paint here. I'm going to cover that in a bit. I've had technical paints, but I've never had this. And I feel that this technical paint has come along at the perfect time for me right now, because I'm about to do depressive amounts of basing for the old world. And you've also got this thing here called a texture brush, which is very specifically designed for getting textures onto bases. So I do have a texture brush, but it's a bit worn out now with use, so I'm glad I've got this. I'll go on to the paints in a second. Let's have a look at number 50. Right, so 2 paint, texture spreader, and a section on customizing bases. Now that to me is where it hits, because you can have a beautifully painted army, and then if you just paint the base green, it's not interesting. You can get things like flocks and all sorts. In fact, just to show you the kind of thing that we can have on our bases, they are going to be used for my Sylvaneth, those flowers, and I'm going to try and find that beautiful summer grass, some more of that beautiful summer grass there. Okay, so just to give you an idea, basing can take your army from being oh wow, it's well painted, to wow, it's real. It feels like it's in a place. Okay, so what have we got here? The realm of metal. You see, we're really drilling into the realm of metal at the moment. A lot of the early stuff was about the realm of beasts, wasn't it? And obviously now we're really hitting the realm of metal. Yeah, it's basically talking about the Durridin, Grungi, basically. The coming of Sneech that completely upended Shaman. I think it's pronounced Shaman. Something that or Chaman. And of course, a little bit about the Caradron overlords and their lovely war with Sneech in that area. And there's not a lot of lore in this one. It's very literally what you get. Okay, so there's not much in the way of lore. However, what we've got is a technique on basing. What I'm reading here it sounds like what they're basically saying is, if you've got a load of spare parts from all your other models, this is where you start using them. Get them on the bases, then you can have like dead bodies, dismembered heads and all sorts of stuff. So let's have a look. Preparing your bases, so it's talking about it's good. It's actually talking properly about how to remove things like hands and arms from shields and staffs, so that you can use them as litter on the floor, basically battlefield litter. So I am actually glad, because this is something they could have forgotten about. I mean, I don't think they would have done, because my knowledge of Games Workshop is, they do it right, but I don't know to what extent Games Workshop are involved with this magazine. I don't know if they have like a named person to tell Hatchet Partworks, oh, you're wrong about this or something. So I assume that the lore comes from Games Workshop, and they keep a very tight eye on the lore to make sure it's right. But yeah, I think ensuring that we've discussed how to do a base and how to do it well is very important, and a skill that's great to learn. Now, again, it tells you all about, hey, use the Tree Lord's head snap the branches off. You've got tree rubble for bases. Adding bits to the bases, so sculpted bases, come with some nice details, but not every single base does, and you may need to, add some little details. Yeah, so actually, that's actually really cool, and it even kind of says, like how much is too much, and yeah, you don't want an insanely littered base sometimes because it doesn't look good. Okay, so yeah, it's just explaining basically about how to put bits and pieces on the bases to make them feel real. There's no other way to put it. But more than that, it's basically saying, you know what, look into it, think about it as you go through, and then, wow, now this is interesting. How to base technique using this Agrellan earth. So this is what I'm really liking the look of. The reason I'm pleased that we're getting this paint here is because I have literally just gone and got a huge Khemri army, Tomb Kings of Khemri army. And I need to do the bases. Well, technically my son needs to do the bases. And giving him something like this to do a desert base is going to make things so much easier for him, isn't it? He's going to be able to get a nice effect without too much work. So, I'm a great believer that, you want to make things as simple as possible. So it's going into the technique of getting that base right. And, after you've gone through and got it, it's kind of then saying, okay, and then to make it even better, you can shade over it, you can dry brush it, and then you can finish it. So normally I don't sort of get overexcited about these painting ones because I have forgot long. I've been doing this for like a long time now, 30 years I think. So I've done a lot of bad models in my time, but I'm also proud of the models that I have done and the quality of my work at this stage. I'm happy with it. I can look at my armies and say, yeah, they bring me joy when I look at them. So these kind of techniques, if I'd had them when I was younger, I'd have probably been a better painter quicker. Anyway, so yeah, there's definitely some really interesting stuff in this. Bases, it's one of those things where I am glad they've done this whole issue on getting the bases right. And honestly, I am. I feel like it's just sometimes simple things that we don't always think about. So yeah, I'm happy that this issue is focusing on something that isn't. And now add a bit of grey to this model that you've had for ages, and it's like, okay. Yeah. No, good basing. Get your basics cool. Now, battle plan. Fury of the Forest battle plan. So we've got our Sylvaneth, and we've got our Gloomspite Gits, and we've got a Marshcrawler Slogoth in there as well, so that's going to be a really cool battle. And then you've got some options, so you can replay it a few times. Oh, cool, it's an ambush attack, so Destruction are in the middle, Order are coming in at them from the sides. Those kind of battles. Now, in Age of Sigmar, where I would probably say it's more geared towards skirmishes, so circular bases, yes, you can have whole armies, but they've got a lot of freedom to turn the miniatures. They just sort of point and face the way they need to go. Whereas compared to an old Hammer battle, where everything is done in ranks and regiments and flanking, an ambush doesn't seem quite as devastating having you in the middle as it does in an older style battle. But of course, you know, that's probably maybe because I don't fully know the rules. But that kind of logic of, you know, what do you do when you're surrounded to win? Okay, so we get our texture brush, we get our Agrelian Earth. I'll probably do a video of how to apply that to a Tomb King base. We've also got this Dawnstone layer, which is a nice mid-grey. I've actually got some of this, and I really like this as a grey for doing things like Skaven, Stormbringer for, you know, like older Skaven. Okay, as I suspected, the Caradron Overlords are coming. You can't keep talking about Jamin with not having the Caradron Overlords coming. So, I am going to be a very happy, excited little bunny coming up, because the next 2 issues a loom boss on a giant K squig. See, a squig is awesome. A giant squig is awesome. Yes. And then we get the engine entering master with the Rigbalsu. I'm going to assume that's how that's pronounced. It's a flying dwarf. It's a flying dwarf. I've wanted these guys for so long. I can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for the next set of issues. There we go then. So that's the core issues. That's issue number 50. Coming up, I've got my special issue today. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.